from the north, and it's really hot. Sometimes here we can have 35, even 38, sometimes 40. But then the temperatures during night goes down quite a lot. Okay, we have maybe a difference of temperature of 20 degrees between day and at night. And that's why Treixadura is the most adapted grape, because Treixadura has a long period of time of maturation. So when Sebio and Ricardo started, because this belongs to Ricardo Carreiro, unfortunately he cannot be here with you today because he's a little bit ill. But his father belongs to, well, he was born here in Gomariz, and for many generations all his people was dedicated to wine growing. Okay, in 1978 he replanted that vineyard over there that is surrounding the house, the cellar, and in 2000 he came from Madrid. He is in engineering, and he decided to be in charge of all the business of winemaking from his father, that he was started to be very old and ill and so on. And he be in touch with Sebio. He met Sebio in a wine course in Orense. Sebio was working in the station of viticulture. He was researching about wine grapes, especially reds. Okay, so he was very interested in knowing how reds could be here, because reds has been even lost. That time many people was introducing again the new grapes, because Albarino started to be famous, because Albarino maybe started 30 years ago, something like that, and they had a lot of efforts in promote Albarino grapes, so they positioned Galicia like a good place for producing white wines. Okay, so nowadays maybe 90% of the wines produced in Ribeiro are whites. Also in our winery we produce more white than red. We have 28 hectares, 20 of white, 8 of red, 24 are here in Gomariz, and most of them are white in quantity, but in quantity of brands you're going to see today that we have half whites and half reds. Okay, so they started planting new vineyards. Okay, and most of the time they decided that to control the production of Albarino and Godello, they should be planting in the upper places where there is granite sands, that is power soils, or schist. And then in the center of the valley it's mainly Treixadura, because Treixadura matures later than the others. So in that way you can balance between vigor, and also they have a very special way of viticulture. You can see that all our vineyards has grass in the soils. Meanwhile, for example, that vineyard over there has no any grass, because they use a lot of grass killers for many years, so many years that now the soil is dead. There's no soil. But here, this is ours. It's going to be planting this year, or all the ones who has green grass alive. This is our soil.
What about the irrigation? You see?
Well, we have irrigation because the last few years has been really hot. So especially for the young vines, they need water, because if not, for example, this vineyard was planted and they died, because they didn't have irrigation, and the summer was so hot that they died. So we decided to put irrigation, and especially we also have seen that when the summer is really hot, it's very warm. When we have irrigation and we irrigate a little bit, the maturation is better.